wanted to give you an update on some books I've been reading recently. I was sick last week, so I didn't film myself reading these, unfortunately, but I read some good books, so I wanted to kind of go over them a little bit. The first one I read was One and Only by Maureen Gu. This was recommended to me by one of my friends who loves K-dramas. She actually has an Instagram where she talks all about them called K-drama Musings, if you want to check her out. This was just a really sweet like rom-com about this Korean American woman who is in, I think she's turning 40 and still hasn't found the one. She's a matchmaker, and so she's looking for her fated match, but she only knows his name. And then she happens to meet a different man who's 28, who is kind of obsessed with her. It was really sweet. It was such a fun little read. I then read Looking Glass Sound. I think I was reading that in the last video. I finished it. It was a little bit of a disappointment. I loved the beginning. It had such a strong opening. It's about this teenage boy who goes to this kind of seaside town with his parents for the summer, and he meets these two kind of odd teenagers, a boy and a girl, and they kind of spend the summer together. The girl is all about like folklore and these like ghost stories of the area, and they play some tricks on each other, and some things happen and they sort of uncover a big secret in the village. That part was all great, but then where the story goes eventually kind of veered off from what I was expecting, and not really in a good way, and it became very meta in a way that was very bizarre to me, and so I didn't love the ending and where it went, unfortunately. But I am probably still gonna pick up other Catriona Ward books because I did like her writing, and it did have a promising opening. I think maybe this story wasn't for me, so I'm probably gonna give her another chance with another book. I still want to read Sundial for sure, and House on Needless Street. After that, I read The Safe Keep. I had heard a lot about this online, I think, and so I wanted to give it a try. I kind of went in blind. I didn't know what this was about at all. Again, it was a little bit of a disappointment for me, unfortunately. It started off strong and then fizzled out. It's about this woman who lives in, I believe it's near Amsterdam, in the 1960s. So she lived through a lot of things going on with World War II when she was a child with her two brothers, and they own this big house. It belonged to their mother. They had moved into it during the war, and their mother has since passed away, and our main character is kind of confined to the house. She doesn't like to leave it. She kind of spends all her time remembering her mother, taking care of her mother's objects in the house, and kind of keeping the house in order. And one day her brother brings home a woman that he supposedly wants to marry, but leaves her in the house with his sister for about a month. She's not very happy about this, but soon becomes very happy about it because she might have a thing for her brother's girlfriend. All that was really lovely, really interesting, but the story just became very moralistic in the end, and I was expecting more of a thriller, I guess, from what I had heard of it and how it started in the beginning, and it became kind of a love story and a yeah, just like a moral tale, and I became less interested. I felt like it didn't have as much to say as I was expecting, although it did have some interesting points to make. It was just alright. Yeah, I read 3 books last week because I was basically bedridden and sick. You can probably still hear it in my voice. What I'm reading this week are 2 books I'm quite excited about. So the first is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. I've heard a lot of good things about this, and I'm about halfway through, and so far so good. It's really interesting. Coming off the back rooms, and also right now Tim is reading House of Leaves, which I haven't read, but he's told me about so many times because he's rereading it. It's like one of his favorite books. This is giving that a little bit. So this one follows a woman who has bought this kind of old, it seems to be a Victorian esque house kind of in the middle of nowhere in the mountains with her girlfriend, and they are going to kind of fix it up to make it an Airbnb, but they're also living in it at the moment while they're renovating and all that. And they haven't been there that long, and randomly a family shows up on the doorstep and says the father used to live there and asks if he can show his family around. Initially she doesn't want to, but she lets them come in, and then things keep happening and they're not leaving. Yeah, the mystery is quite good. I think we're getting into like maybe cult stuff, which sounds fun, but maybe not. I feel like I never know where this is going, and it is really creepy, so it was a good start. I hope it's not a bad end like all these other ones have been. So I'll let you know how I get on with this week. Probably gonna finish it up pretty soon because I'm already like halfway. And then I'm reading The Story of the Lost Child by Elena Ferrante. This is the 4th book in the Neapolitan Quartet. If you haven't read this series, you are missing out. I think My Brilliant Friend, which is the 1st book in the series, is one of the best books I have ever read. It was voted, I think it was like the New Yorker or the New York Times, like best books of the 21st century or something. These are amazing. Don't let the covers fool you. They follow these 2 friends who are born in Naples, Italy. The neighborhood that they're from in Naples is very kind of poor and uneducated and run by this sort of like a mob family, I guess I would describe it. The girls are both really brilliant, but it kind of follows how their lives diverge, and we're seeing basically their whole life. So now our main character is in her, well, both of them are in their 30s, they have children, things are going on with their marriages and their careers, and the stories just kind of follow the women going like this throughout life, like having problems with each other, moving apart, coming back together, and their relationship is so fascinating, and the things that are going on in their lives in this kind of period of turmoil in Italy. They are just, I can't even describe. So I'm reading this slowly because I'm savoring it, because then the story will be over. Yeah, so I'll tell you more about this later on this week as I'm reading it, but I'm kind of reading both so I can slow down on this. And also I usually want a palate cleanser when I'm reading a horror, so I can kind of mix it up. And so that's what I'll be getting up to. Good morning. I'm at the beach. I've come here this morning to go for a little walk and potentially sit out here and read my book. I'm not sure how cold it's going to be. It is June, but we are in Canada and sometimes it's pretty cold here. And today's only like 14 right now, hence the fleece, but I have a t-shirt under this in case I'm warm. But it is really sunny and beautiful today. And it's early, so I think it's fairly empty. And I do have a picnic blanket in the back. I always have it in my trunk in case I want to spontaneously sit outside and read somewhere. So I have brought my books and everything, but I think I'm gonna walk first. And then once I'm finished my walk, see how I'm feeling. Also that I can see how cold it actually is out here. If it's too cold to just sit. It's a beautiful day. I've been thinking about coming here to go for a walk and sit on the beach for like 2 weeks. I had planned to do this last week. There was some really hot days, but I was sick, so I couldn't come. And Tim came here, I think he was here, and watched the sunset with one of our friends. And I wish I could have gone, but I was sick. So anyway, we're in full incognito mode. Hat, sunglasses. I'm gonna put my headphones on and listen to like a podcast or something, I think. No, I can't hear you, but look, this is the mood, the vibe. I'm gonna leave my books in the car, and then, yeah, we'll see if I read after my walk. Oh, it's hotter than I thought. Whew. And also, it's so expensive to park here now. And my walk was an hour and a half, I guess. No, it was only an hour. Did I only pay for an hour? Yeah, I think I only paid for an hour. But oh my god. It was $5 to park here. It didn't used to cost that much. I know that for a fact. I used to come here park for like an hour and a half and it would be like a couple bucks. I don't understand. You can't take public transit to get here. So like, what do they expect people to do? Do they not want people to come to the beach? Anyway, that was a lovely walk. Literally my parking expires in like 2 minutes, so I'm not paying again so that I can sit on the beach. I'm too hot. I think I'm just gonna head home. If I want to read outside later, I can go back out, I think maybe to the park and read there. But I'm really hot. It's too hot. I'm gonna finish listening to the podcast I was listening to and we're gonna head home. I'm trying this out. I picked this up frozen from the grocery store on the way home. I don't have any sauce, so let's put some random stuff on it. These are spinach and cheese pierogies. They're pretty good, and they're gluten-free. There's a child outside making a lot of noise. Hopefully you can't hear that. It's a while later. I wanted to talk a bit about We Used to Live Here. I was reading this on the park bench earlier with my coffee, which was fabulous. I came back and did a little bit of painting this afternoon. I also took off my nails because I'm gonna do a new set. The ones I had on had gotten stained because I redyed my hair yesterday. Yeah, I redyed my hair yesterday and my nails had gotten like stained and it was bothering me. So I'm gonna put on a new set tomorrow, and so that's kind of what I've been up to. This is really good. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm enjoying it. I think I talked about this. I know what this is about. This woman and her girlfriend have purchased an old house so that they can renovate it and turn it into an Airbnb. And what happens is one evening the main character's partner is out and she's home alone and unpacking and stuff because they haven't been there that long. A family shows up at the front door and they're like, the father says, oh, I used to live here. Can I come in and show my family around? At first she's kind of apprehensive, but she's a real people pleaser. And so eventually she's a real people pleaser. So eventually she says yes, even though she doesn't really want to. And they come in and look around. It's kind of normal, but the daughter, the young daughter of the family, kind of goes missing and starts hiding in the basement. And so they have to wait for her to come out. And just things keep happening where the family needs to stay in the house, and it would be like really confrontational for her to make them leave, so she doesn't, until it gets worse and worse and worse, and then she starts to seem crazy. Between the chapters of this happening, there are these, like, here's one, like these document files. Some are long, some are short, that kind of give you a little bit more about what's going on. It seems like someone was looking into this phenomena called old house. That's where it kind of gets into this like backrooms-esque thing. There's a part that's like, you need to make sure you know which house you're in, which leads me to believe there's like an alternate dimension, or, you know, something like where you just randomly end up in a different world or in a different version of the house or something. It's very creepy and fun, and every once in a while I'm reading it like, oh, that was freaky. So I'm excited to see this become a movie, because I can see which scenes would be really cool if done well. I don't want to jinx it like in case it's bad. Probably won't finish it tonight because I'm gonna cook dinner and watch Love Island, and then Tim will be home and we are replaying. What is, oh, it's the shadow from the lamp. I was like, what is that on the wall? Okay. Him and I are replaying Dark Souls, the original. It's very nostalgic for us because I feel like we played this game before we moved in together. So we probably would have been like 20 years old. Oh my gosh, like 12 years ago. It's really fun to replay, especially because we've now played all the Souls games. We've played Elden Ring and all the Dark Souls, so our skills are better, which makes it a little less frustrating and a little more fun. If you've ever played Dark Souls, it is quite a difficult game, so it's fun to replay now. Before I wrap up this video, I wanted to give you my final thoughts on We Used to Live Here. This was a really disappointing read. I feel like I just keep reading flops and I've got nothing to recommend, which is so annoying. But I'm glad I checked it out because I've heard so much about this book and a lot of people have been loving it. It just didn't do it for me. I'm so sorry. It had a lot of scary scenes that I did appreciate, and until about the last 100 pages, I was really into it. It was a really interesting mystery. I loved our main character. I was really curious to see where it would go. I just felt like there were a lot of threads of the story that were starting and not really being completed. There was no explanation of where this house came from and like why it is this way, why there's these kind of, I guess, other worlds or other houses. There was no explanation for anything. The mystery doesn't end. I don't know if there's supposed to be another book, but I'm not gonna read it if there is. It was really promising, but just didn't live up to my expectations. I just expect a little more from the books I'm reading, even if they're thrillers or horrors or mystery. I expect a little bit more. Offer me something about like the human experience, something of interest. I don't know. I think I just wanted more than what this gave me, and so yeah, unfortunately I don't quite recommend it. Anyway, thank you for spending time with me this week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.